Should the UFC implement an instant replay system in the case of a controversial stoppage? So I'm going to let you have this one first, bro.
Yes, that's a resounding yeah. To me, I feel like there has been a unnecessary amount of criticism towards the referees for stoppages, and in my opinion, and I've heard different referees echo this, a early stoppage is better than a late stoppage. You don't want somebody getting, their face caved in, and now they're slurring their words, and they, don't know who their children are. You don't want that. You'd rather them be upset with you for an early stoppage. But in light of that, there has to be an equal balance to negate those early stoppages. And if there's a instant replay or some sort of camera angle, and this is something that actually the other organizations get right, with those goofy glasses that the referees wear, where they're able to see these different angles and analyze things. They look like idiots, but they are able to see what's going on, and that is beneficial to the fighters. And getting it wrong, which again, the referees are human and they're going to get things wrong. I'm not talking about Mario Yamasaki. I'm talking about the Herb Deans, those of people of that caliber. They do get things wrong too, but I think an instant replay is going to be something that props them up and helps them do their job better, knowing that they have a fail safe just in case there's something that they happen to have missed. So I would say a resounding yes to that one, because they need something to help them, because they're the third man in the cage, and they're the only one that gets the blame for things like that. Even though, like I said, they're human, they can only see things from one side, and that's always not the best angle. So yeah, they need help.
Yeah, again, this one was pretty easy, and I like the fact that you've kind of raised the issue of referees needing to be protected, because I think, as we know, there have been some very, very questionable decisions over the years that referees make, but usually 99% of the time, as you alluded to, it's usually in light of a referee trying to protect the fighter, which should be the number one priority. And as we've talked about, having an instant replay system would help in a way to make referees more confident in these decisions. So we'd have less instances where we get late and early stoppages completely, because as soon as the referee sees a situation where they think the fight should be stopped, they can say, right, I'm going to stop it for the safety of the fighter. You can then look at what the referee was seeing to determine, again, using the ref cams as a means of not changing camera angles in the middle of the fight and making everyone feel like you're on a boat, but actually using it to go back and and actually looking back at it and seeing what the referee was seeing, and then making an educated decision at that point, regarding, all right, was the fight, because we can obviously, we have the benefit of seeing the fight from every angle, whereas the referee does not have that advantage. And again, bringing that in would have the added benefit of being able to, if the fight needs to restart, it needs to restart. If the win needs to be overturned, the win needs to be overturned. And again, you're then putting it to committee then to turn that out, as opposed to having something happen where the referee makes a mistake, the fight gets called incorrectly, and then the referee has to carry that blame for the rest of his career. Because people hold grudges when they lose money, and people hold grudges when their favorite fighters lose in a situation. And I'm somebody who's been equally salty in both situations. So just having an opportunity where it can at least be explained as to how that situation has come about. And for the better part, referees do tend to have a lot of integrity. The majority of them are very, they're doing a very, very hard job, and they're very, very good at it. And if us as armchair casuals think we can get in there and make the right call every time, when someone's life's on the line, then we don't know what the hell we're talking about. So there's so many scenarios that can play out in that. You know, you can use it to reset a dominant position if something's been stopped too early, or again, it's grounds for it to go to a commission and possibly be turned over later. What it boils down to for me, and it's something that we again alluded to before, it's just the amount of careers get ruined from this situation. I mean, you look at the situation with Peter Yan, for example, who, I mean, he obviously did knee Aljamain Sterling in the face, so I don't think his career would have been that different. Because, you know, it was a mistake that he made and ultimately suffered for. But just think about the situations where fighters have gone on horrible slides and never recovered from it as a result of an incorrect decision inside the cage that wasn't really anybody's fault other than the fault of circumstance, you know? So I'm completely behind that. I think this is one of the easiest topics we've ever done. And you know, as you said, we do it in major sports all over the country.
Speaking of Peter Yan, that was he's one of the people that I kind of highlight on my Your Favorite Fighters Are Struggling video that I just released.
Great video.
A few days back. And I think that, you know, that's a great point. Like these particular scenarios can create a microcosm for a fighter where things start to snowball, and they could have started on something that was totally not their fault. Winning is contagious and losing is contagious too. And in Peter Yan's case, I mean, the dude hasn't won in 3 years. And so it doesn't have to start with something that they did. It could start with something that was out of their control. So yeah, this would totally take that out of the picture of things that could hurt them.
No, definitely, I completely agree. And again, you know, it's as we talked about before, you know, how many major sports have a replay system, and yet we don't have one in probably one of the most dangerous circumstances sports wise that you can have. You know, you've got guys that are trying to munt each other's heads to the moon, and we've got nothing in place to say, right, what happened? How did it happen? How can we correct this? And, you know, in terms of how fighters' careers can get derailed, we've seen it happen time after time, and they should at least be actively trying to fix that. You know, it might take some trial and error. There might be some mistakes along the way, but if the ultimate goal isn't to have a fair outcome in there, then what are we doing? Like, these people are putting their lives on the line, and they deserve to have a fair situation when doing that, because then it all gets farcical at that point. But yeah, 100% agree with you. And again, thank you for raising the point so eloquently, as you always do. You're making me look like a real adult again. This is why I like talking with you. You know, and by myself, I feel like I'm giving myself a bad reputation. So thanks very much.